Hey guys, Bryan here from Liquid Concepts. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about plastics. So we've already got our plastics prepped out. We've got them adhesion promoted and then primered, but yet they still came out rough. And so today's weekly tips and tricks, we're going to be kind of showing you a little bit on sanding out some plastics and how to get them really smooth in case you have like textured plastics or you still got some little spots that are a little bit more rough than normal and you just want them to be slicked out, and then that way whenever you go to paint it or to clear coat it or anything like that, everything is glass. All right, and so what we've got here is we've got some parts off of a side-by-side. Now we've already went through and smoothed all these out, but there was still a little bit of a texture feel on the parts themselves. And so what we're going to do here is we saw whenever the texture was coming through in the actual primer. And so what we did was we used our Liquid Concepts direct to metal epoxy primer, and we put down 2 good coats of a sealer primer on the parts themselves. And so again, we've got our parts that were already prepped out. We shot some adhesion promoter on it. We shot some Liquid Concepts epoxy primer down, and then now we're going to sand everything out, get it back really smooth, and then we can go straight from there into the paint, and then we're ready to go. So what we're going to do here is on the bigger parts like this right here, back down through this. Alright, so what we've got right here is a DA. It's a dual action orbital sander, and so this one has an interface pad on it. You don't have to have one, but it does make it quite nice to kind of go over edges because it is a lot more softer, and so it can round over edges and works really well for plastics, things like that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to sand all this out, and so a lot of the times if you have a rough textured plastic, it's a really good idea to do this, so then that way you get everything as smooth as possible. So we're going to take some 400 grit, which we've already got on here, sandpaper, and start smoothing everything out. And so this is going to be pretty simple, and essentially it's going to give you a really good profile for your paint to bond to the primer, because again it's already fully cured out, so therefore we have to make sure that the paint is going to stick to the primer. So this is a good way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You've got your sandpaper to smooth everything out, and then you've also got your sand scratches from the sandpaper that will also make it to where your paint will bond really well into the plastics themselves. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep this a little bit lower PSI just because we don't want to burn these edges, because there is quite a bit. Now again, on some parts it may be better to hand sand, and we will have to on some of these parts, but in this case we're going to go ahead and hit it with the DA and smooth a little bit of this out. So let's get started. So you don't want to use a lot of force. You mainly just want to keep going back and forth just enough for the sandpaper to cut into the primer, but of course not far enough to where it cuts down into the plastic. Grab some air and go ahead and blow some of this off, and then kind of show you guys the difference on just even what some 400 grit will really make on it. Alright, so as you can tell, we've got a very nice, smooth, even surface all the way through here. Now we've still got a little bit of some of the specks that you can kind of see where we haven't hit it at, but compared to what you're seeing like over in here versus what we've got right here, this is definitely 100 times smoother. And so whenever we go down and we lay our paint down on top of this, this is really going to slick out really well. And so again, we're going to come back. We got a little bit right in here that we're going to hand sand, and especially on a part like this, we're definitely going to have to hand sand it, but the DA does help make it a lot quicker. And so whenever you have something like this, if it's really rough, you can even start with 400, maybe even 320, but I'd probably stay about 400 to 600 range. Normally once you go below the 400 range, that's whenever you start seeing a lot of the sand scratches in your paint, and of course you definitely don't want that. So stick with the 400 to 600. You can even go with 800. A lot of people don't normally go that high, but you can if you want to, just to really slick it out really nice. So we're going to continue on with this right here and get this all sanded down. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I know we always do, making the videos, the weekly tips and tricks, even just different videos, funny videos and all that. So if you have any questions, definitely leave them below in the comment section, and we'd love to hear from you guys. And again, I'm Brian from Liquid Concepts, and we're making hydrographics great again.